Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We're excited to have one of our partners on, Whit Lester from Nav Payroll, and he's going to be presenting on Take a Deep Dive into Primo Payday's Employee Self-Service Portal. And just as a reminder, we are recording this webinar, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And we encourage you to ask questions during the presentation, so please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we'll answer them at the end of our session. So now I'm going to turn it over to Whit to kick off our presentation.
Thanks, Angie. And thank you, everyone, anyone who's watching this recording or attending the session. Thank you very much for taking the time. So what we're going to do is give you a brief introduction to the Primo Payday employee web portal. So the Primo Payday web portal was designed to help kind of bridge the gap with HR type requirements that we were consistently receiving from pretty much every deployment we were doing in the first 24 to 36 months of being in business. And a common theme was, hey, do you have a way for employees to be able to submit time off requests or be able to download pay stubs without having to call the payroll or HR department and have them provide that? So we took that note and then we added some additional features, which has become what is now the employee web portal. Regarding pricing for the employee web portal, you can always contact Innovia for that, but the way the system is priced is you pay a flat quarterly fee, and your employees do not have to have Business Central licenses to use it. So if you have 1 million employees, you don't need 1 million Business Central IDs for them just to use the portal. So depending on your employee base, that can be a significant value add as well. So I'm going to try to not make this too schizophrenic of a presentation, but I will be moving between the web portal screen, which is what you see now, and I will also switch to our Business Central demonstration to show you how data is flowing from the portal to Business Central. So if you see any transitions, that's kind of what we're doing here. So for login and password, the employee card within Primo Payday has a login and password field. So if I switch to Business Central and I go to employees and I go to Ron Swanson, in Business Central, you can see here in the login and password is where the information in these fields is going to determine the login and password on the portal itself. So Ron wants to type in his login and password that's been given to him, so now he has access to the employee web portal. And within the employee web portal, there's a variety of things you can do. In most cases, our clients aren't using the web portal to submit hours, but you do have the ability to enter hours details and submit them for approval through the portal. So you could come in here and put in a usage date. You could put in an earnings code. You could select you could enter the number of hours, and then you could select any dimensions that you want to make available to the employees if necessary, as far as what they're going to, what kind of details they're going to add for these hours, and then they can add them. Okay. You can also submit time off requests. And so when you submit time off requests, it's kind of a similar theme. So you can add, you select the date. I got a little ahead of myself there. So let's say we're going to do time off request for the 29th. We're going to make it a personal day. We're going to say it's 8 hours, and we're not going to worry about, we'll go ahead and do department code strategic today. And we'll add that. Okay. So in this particular example, through the portal, Ron Swanson has added some hours details and added some PTO requests. or APT request. So within the your Business Central Primo Payday system, assuming you have the rights to view employee hours details or employee time off requests, you can either search for hours approvals, or you've got the quick link right here to view hours approvals. So you can jump right in and you can see right now we've got pending hours that have been submitted. Here's the 2 we just did. And all you have to do is you can select those hours and then you can approve or decline them. And if you approve them, then they're going to flow through into the hours detail table, where they will be stored until they're processed in a payroll document. And if you decline them, they will be declined, and it'll show up. If I go back to the portal, it'll show up as approved or declined history on the employee's portal. And if it's posted, you'll see posted. So pretty seamless as far as the way information is flowing to the Primo Payday app. And you can also, upon request, we can set up email notifications to be sent to like a manager or someone who's going to be approving this time, so they can get an email that says, hey, Ron Swanson requested time off. Can we please approve or decline it? So another big use of the portal is going to be posted payroll processing. And this is where any pay stub can be accessed by the employee. And so you can, they can download these pay stubs or they can view them if needed. And so here's an example of a viewable pay stub. And we can also make this available for like W-2s if you want your employees to have W-2s available through the portal. That can be set up as well with this same kind of feature set. So PTO request history we looked at. Hours request history is just similar to the tied to the hours details as far as what's been approved, what's been declined, what's been posted. PTO history gives you an idea about your history of time off, what's been posted. And then we've got a few other areas. So another aspect of it is going to be the employee change request. So with the employee change request, like in this case, if I look at, let me go to Ron Swanson right quick and look at his, you can see his address is 2556 Cockrell Avenue, okay? And let's say that we want to change that to be 7119 Summit Drive. I can submit that change, and then in Business Central, once again, we've got the employee change approval, so you can see what kind of change has been submitted. They want to make it 7119 Summit Drive as their new address, and I will select it and I will approve it. Okay. So now if I go back to my employees, you can see that we've got a new address. Now, within this feature for employee change requests, we can turn on any field in the employee card that you want to give the employee an opportunity to change. But that's completely up to you as the end user as far as what you want your employees to be able to potentially change. Normally, it's nothing more than first name, last name, address, emergency contact, and that's normally in that range is kind of what it is, or maybe like an additional email, things like that. But any data that you want your employees to be able to potentially switch, they can make those changes and through the portal. So, and you can see now once we refresh the portal, we've got a new address that's locked in. The other aspect of it is company and employee documents, and for this demonstration, we've just set up company documents. So I'll go into Business Central and just show you how to set that up first. The general, the point of company documents or employee documents was to allow you as the employer to be able to post documents to the portal that might be company specific or employee specific that they could reference, whether it's a manual or some sort of a health outline or a safety guideline or something that you're giving to your employees anyways, and just a way for them to have it digitally available. So to set up company documents, you're first going to go to I'm going to go to payroll setups. Go here. I'm going to go to payroll setups in Primo Payday, and I'm going to go down to the web section of the payroll setups, and we're going to say save files to database, and you're going to basically enter the folder or the file path for where where Primo Payday is going to look to be pulling documents. But you still have to actually download the files to the system. This just kind of limits where the system is going to look for said files. So then if I go to payroll files, oops, I should spell it right. You can see here I've just downloaded, we can upload or download files. And so if I want to download or upload the employee safety, health, and training, which I just did prior to this demo, then when we load that file, we can then go to company documents, and now we've got access to the employee safety and health training, and now the employee can open that and they can download it and they can view it and do whatever, use it however they're going to use it. And then one step further is the employee uploaded files, and this is a relatively new feature that we've loaded in the past several months. And with this feature, you can upload a file. So in this case, I've uploaded an example earnings report. So you can upload a file just by clicking upload, and then you select a document. And so when you upload that file, you can navigate to that employee, and Ron Swanson's the employee that we're using in this example. And if you go to related HR information and then go to employee documents, you can see that document is now linked to the employee cards employee document section. So this is a tool that the portal is a tool that we've added as an optional feature for Primo Payday customers to be able to augment communication between the payroll / administration department and the employee base. And with the new features like employee change requests and employee upload documents, we've tried to add some tools to make it a little bit easier for employees to have more proactive communication with specific pieces of data within for you as the employer. Typical questions that we receive on this product is who hosts it. Primo Payday hosts it. That's one reason for making it a quarterly subscription, is because we have to pay for the hosting. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it's also a lot of customers ask about, do you need Business Central licenses? Do employees need Business Central licenses to use the portal? And the answer to that is no, they do not. The way that the system actually works is that the portal itself uses one full Business Central license to communicate with with Primo Payday and your Business Central system. So you do need, if you do want to use the portal, you do need to include in your budget for it adding one more full Business Central license that's dedicated just for the portal to be able to communicate. But that's all you're going to need. I mean, we have some customers, some clients that have several thousand employees using the portal, and they just have one added Business Central license for the entire portal to communicate all that information to Business Central. So that's an introduction to the portal, Angie.
Okay, great. Thanks, Whit. Doesn't
bet.
look like we have any questions currently. If anybody does have any, please go ahead and type them into the questions box, and we can get Whit to address those. A question that I have, Whit, is how much time is needed to learn this program?
To learn the portal, maybe an hour. It's if you tell employees, because we'll set up a unique URL, whatever the customer wants, but normally it's like Primo Payday, or it's it'll be like the name of your company .portal.com or something like that. And normally the employees are pretty adept at understanding, okay, so long as they know what their login and password is, they can log in, and they can, if they know they can instantly submit time off requests or download pay stubs, that kind of gets them off and running. And all of these options here are we can turn them on or off. So it's not like the customer, it's not like the employee user has to see all of these. So it just depends on what's relevant to the employer. But like I said, maybe an hour for the employer to kind of learn the ropes, and then employee adoption is typically pretty swift. And then as far as setting it up, it's typically up to a 4-hour project to set it up, and that includes gathering all the data and testing it to make sure you have access, and then doing some testing of data to make sure everything's connected properly. But it's not a really big undertaking to get it turned on when customers are ready for it.
Okay, great. We do have a question that came through. Do we have to set up all employees with a username and password?
You do if you want to use the portal, but you can also use import packages to update that. You don't have to manually go into each card and do it if you have a lot of employees. But there is not currently a functionality within the portal to allow for automatic, like where the employee can just automatically change their login and password on their own. And that's partially due to some of the security settings that Microsoft has in place right now. We're probably going to add that functionality later, but the dev team needs a little bit more clarity on where Microsoft's going from a security standpoint to make sure we set it up properly. So yes, right now, whether you use a mass update or you do it manually, you as the employer would need to set up the employees with logins and passwords.
Okay, thank you. And what about support? If we have questions along the way, do we have a dedicated support person, or is it just us on our own?
No, it's still a Primo Payday supported product. So you can still support at primopayday.com can address any portal questions. Normally, it's just because it's a relatively simple feature, there's just not a lot that can go wrong with it. So normally if there's issues, it's either we received the wrong information for linking it, and that's normally going to be addressed during the setup phase and not during support phase, or someone's kind of has forgotten how to use it or needs help getting access. But yeah, we do support, we're charging for it and we support it. So.
Okay, great. Thanks, Whit. I believe that's all the questions that we have for you today. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your account manager here at Innovia Consulting, or Whit at Primo Payday. Whit, do you have your info? Your contact?
WHIT, I guess I can, let me see if I can, I don't have it on a little safe screen here. It's WHIT.lester@primopayday.com.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. And if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us. Thank you, Whit, for the presentation.
thank you very much for inviting us.
And to let you know, we do have another webinar coming up tomorrow. We have our very own application consultants, Jenny Hollingsworth and John Grant, presenting on Enhance Your Manufacturing with BC Nav Warehouse Functions. So check out our website for more information on the upcoming events, and that's innovia.com/events. And we also have new training workshops for you and your team members to attend. You can visit our training workshop page at innovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the workshop that fits your role. And don't forget, we have our Innovia Conversation podcast that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Pergolski, have provided to us. You can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, and that's innovia.com/podcast. So browse through that selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And we did just get back from Summit. That was a great event for us in Houston, Texas. We will be visiting Dynamics Con live in Anaheim, California in November, and that will be November 10th and 11th. So for those of you that are going to be attending, make sure you look for us. And you can check out our conference page at innovia.com/conferences to learn more about all of the other conferences we'll be attending. All right, well, we thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Whit.
Thank you very much.